Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 9 of season 2 of our F1 Manager McLaren Road to Glory. This weekend we head to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and of course if you missed out on the video that went live last week from Baku, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We have big news as we come into this GP. Oscar Piastri, unfortunately, will be stepping away from the organisation. I let you guys vote over on the community tab here on YouTube towards the end of last week, of course, to try and decide who would be our new driver alongside Lando Norris. And you guys voted in your thousands. So we, today, are going to attempt to try and hire Fernando Alonso. If we have a look, driver name, scroll all the way down to Fernando then. 86 rated at the moment. Fernando, of course, over at one of our big rivals in Alfa Romeo. I'm going to offer him, I think, you know, it's Fernando Alonso. We've got to offer him the the number 1 seat. How much money I need to sensibly offer him, I'm not 100% sure just yet. Well, we'll try out some different numbers and see what happens. Right, so what I've offered him then is a 2-season contract with $10 million salary, $2 million starting bonus, and then $500,000 extra if he finishes P5 or higher. Then, if this goes through, it's only going to cost us $2 million to begin with. So let's see if Fernando is happy with that. Yes, he is! There we go. Fernando Alonso is back for a 3rd time down at McLaren then. That seems awfully cursed, I won't lie to you guys. But Lando Norris then and Fernando Alonso now within the team. Dennis Hauger, of course, still our reserve driver. And I mean, Lando Norris could be about to be higher rated. Yes, he is. 87 rated against Fernando Alonso at 86. But now we've got 2 drivers that can absolutely fight for the championship here. It also means Alfa Romeo. I'm intrigued to see whether they've just gone the other way. Fernando Alonso has joined us. Oscar Piastri is without a team. So we'll have to go into the weekend before we can find out who Alfa Romeo have signed. But yeah, Canada, Fernando Alonso's return to McLaren. This one I feel like would be talked about a lot. And then after that, next week, we've got to try and get the next huge upgrade organised on the car.
Formula One is back in Montreal. Let's hope it's not going to be Groundhog Day. The local rodents have disrupted more than one race day here in the past. The Canadian Grand Prix is ready to kick off, and the only drama on the tracks we want to see is the best drivers in the world battling it out for a place on that podium. Gilles Villeneuve is a quick, free-flowing circuit in parts, with a stop-start aspect thrown in for good measure around the chicanes and hairpin bends. Medium-speed downforce will play a large part in avoiding the wall of champions and ensuring success at this iconic track. The season is about halfway through, and it makes me wonder what else is in store for the teams. Well, there's only one way to find out. So, without further ado, let's get started.
I'm very, very excited as we head into this weekend, and rain on Saturday certainly opens up opportunities as well for some spice. Can we see then who is now down at Alfa Romeo? We can't still, I don't think. I'm probably missing a rather obvious way of finding out. But of course, yeah, low downforce is going to be the key around this venue today. But of course, it's how much you can try and get away with without compromising yourself too much through the chicanes. But Fernando Alonso, the first time we've managed the feisty elder Spaniard. I mean, maybe elder is a bit harsh, but I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting test. Okay, then, so it has been a direct swap between Oscar Piastri and Fernando Alonso. Of course, Alonso now with his 3rd team in 10 races. It's been quite a wild ride for the Spaniard, but I'm sure he's made a fair bit of bank from it as well there. But I'm very, very intrigued to see how, of course, Lando Norris is going to get on. Also find it quite interesting then, something I've now learned about F1 Manager. Despite the fact Alonso's never driven our car before, he's already 83% confident. So that's good, I guess. And we're barely 5 minutes into the session, and apparently multiple cars have come together then. So don't know what's gone on there. Virtual safety car. We won't bother bringing the drivers in, it's still far too early in the session. Who has come to a stop then? That's so weird here, Fernando Alonso. There we go.
Okay,
What has
so
happened?
there we have
Haas
the
and
Alpine.
Alpine. Are we going to see a lock-up into the hairpin? Yes, we are. And that's
the contact
wrecked
there.
the
Oh,
Alpine
there's
car. I think the
chaos on the
Alpine's come
track.
off worse. Sorry, the Haas has come off there worse than the Alpine did. Yup, Yuki Tsunoda is already out of free practice 1. And like I said, we're barely 5 minutes in. Well done. There we go. Lando Norris rather happy with the car. Ocon with a time 9 minutes 20 off the pace, which is rather impressive. Yeah, we'll bring Lando back into the pit lane though. Hopefully, oh no, Fernando definitely not agreeing there, as it would appear that he has Oscar Piastri's helmet still. Don't know about that one, but okay, Fernando.
Okay, copy.
Not happy with the car though, so we'll have to bring him in as well. 4/100 separating our two drivers early on. This was the kind of pace we'd hoped to see from Oscar Piastri, and yes, he could get it on occasion. He could get very, very close to Lando Norris, but it just wasn't often enough. Also, let's guess now how often I'm going to get Lando and Fernando muddled up. I might have made a mistake on that front, as Esteban Ocon is improving. He's now 7 minutes 55 off the pace. Things you love to see. Fernando, yep, there you go, there's one. Going side by side with a Ferrari back down at the first corner. Of course, one of his many former teams now on the Formula 1 grid. In fact, I think the only teams now he hasn't driven for on this grid in various guises is Red Bull, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Haas and Williams. He's been at half the teams on this grid, which is rather good going. But yeah, of course, I feel like Canada might be a track we struggle at a bit more. You know, high speed again is probably going to be a tougher test for us. That being said, though, Baku we did do quite well. So yeah, I'm not really quite sure where we're going to stand on pace this weekend. But I mean, look at Oscar Piastri. P5 in his Alfa Romeo. That better not come back to haunt us. And once again, happy with the car, so we can bring him back in once more. And Fernando as well. Hopefully is going to provide us with some good data there. So yeah, I feel like we're learning. But, you know, we're getting those cars dialed in. Bono and Alonso. Do you reckon that could work in real life? I really don't know. Right, well, 10 minutes to go then. We may as well send both cars back out for a glory run on a set of soft compound tyres. Try and push ourselves further up the order and see what the representative pace is like. But yeah, top 10 covered by 0.8 of a second here in free practice. Well, it hasn't quite been a full glory run. I forgot to tell them both to stop trying to avoid the curbs and all various bits and pieces like that. But Lando Norris then up over the line. He is only going to improve by a few hundredths there. So yeah, clearly that pace difference I was kind of hoping for hasn't quite happened. Will Fernando even be able to go any quicker than that? No, he won't. But I feel like, yeah, we will have obviously much better pace in qualifying. But which of our drivers will come out on top?
We return to our highly anticipated race weekend, just in time for the start of qualifying. Drivers will have to demonstrate remarkable consistency as they progress through qualifying. Those at the very top of their game will be looking to lay down a lap time that sets them apart from their competitors. Sometimes that's a mere fraction of a second. So here we are, ready to resume.
Well, I don't often show Q1 in this series, and perhaps this weekend I probably ought to have there. Max Verstappen fastest, Alonso P3 at the end of Q1 there, 1,000th of a second quicker than Carlos Sainz. But I'd forgot, of course, that the rain was meant to come in. So out in Q1, Charles Leclerc, World Championship leader, Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, Hamilton and Yuki Tsunoda. They're both Williams and both Aston Martins into Q2. We've now got to make sure we get into Q3, but that has been a lifeline for us. Well, there we go. Looks like track is now meant to be dry again. It was heavy rain barely 10 minutes ago, but I guess we'll take it. But yeah, of course, we'll head back out then on the scrub set of softs. But I mean, Fernando Alonso is up there with Ferraris and Red Bulls. Maybe this car is incredibly quick. And maybe Lando Norris also isn't that great. I think he got held up a little bit on his first run. We're going to try and send both cars out nice and early.
So, rain, all clear.
Yep, that rain has definitely stopped. Thank you very much for that. It's quite clearly a sunny day once more in Montreal. Well, Fernando Alonso then starting his first run in Q2. Let's see, I mean, first weekend in the car, it really has been jumped in at the deep end. But, I mean, this is just what Fernando Alonso does, isn't it, I suppose? He comes into unknown areas and he just absolutely extracts the pace out of the car there. Looks like Lando might get held up a little bit by one of the Red Bulls, so just going to try and monitor that as he starts his lap. But Alonso has got free track there. That Red Bull, hopefully they'll be a little bit further around, maybe out into the back straight by the time Lando gets to him. Or just wait there? No, why? I mean, surely that's a penalty. Come on, that game. If Sergio Perez has blocked us, like, that is just so bad. Of course, we've had to divert our attention back to Fernando Alonso then, as rounding through the final couple of turns up towards the start-finish line. What will the Spaniard be able to do as a first time on the board? Gasly a 12.6, Alonso a 12.4. So, actually not particularly great there in the end. We were down in the 11s at the end of Q1. What will Lando Norris be able to achieve then as he heads up towards the start-finish line? There must have been a mistake in there somewhere by Fernando. As Lando Norris, yeah, only, half a second away on a 13 dead. Not particularly great times, lads. Oh, dearie me, Lando Norris hasn't even been able to get out on a final run in Q2 then. Fernando Alonso has started his lap, and he's actually about halfway round. But yeah, Lando Norris, I don't know what he was doing. I gave him like 2 minutes to get out onto the circuit there, but clearly not enough time to get around. I mean, really now the focus is on will Bottas be able to improve there and potentially knock one of our cars out in Q2. I'm pretty certain Alonso now is mathematically safe. We won't see the Williams or the Aston Martins improve, but surely Lando Norris can't be out in Q2 here as rounding through the final corner then with Valtteri Bottas. This is going to be the ultimate test then up towards the line. No! Norris out in Q2 then. That has been an absolute disaster to start the weekend. Alonso up over the line. He will stay in P6 then, just behind George Russell. Yeah, mega lap time by Bottas as, Russell even improves there to go closer to Max Verstappen. But Lando Norris starting this Grand Prix behind his former teammate Oscar Piastri. Right, well, rain is predicted then once more here before the end of Q3. Only actually in about a couple of minutes, so we've got to try and get on with it then with Fernando Alonso here. We've got Ferrari and Pierre Gasly. Of course, that Ferrari has got to be Carlos Sainz, with Charles Leclerc starting this one down at the rear of the field. But effectively now, this is a one-shot qualifying session here. Luckily, doesn't look like we'll get held up by any traffic, but riding on board then with Fernando Alonso. Could we see some heroics? Of course, last year in the real-life Canadian Grand Prix, managed to get his Alpine car up onto the front row of the grid. I would absolutely love to see something similar to that today as we round our way through the second and third chicanes. They're all fairly nice and tidy to kick-start this lap. What are the sector times looking? 21.6 through Sector 1 is not bad going by any measure. As we come towards the end of Sector 2, hopefully, again, we're going to be nice and competitive here. It's going to be, what, about 22.3 that time round. So Carlos Sainz then down in towards the final corner. He is going to be the reference point as we come towards the end of our first runs there. Will the Spaniard be able to set a competitive time? He sets a 12.0, so not bad. But Fernando Alonso has gone quicker already. Earlier on this weekend, they're down in towards the World Champions chicane. Of course, 2 World Championships for the Spaniard. Gets through there all clean and tidy. Shortest run back up towards the line. Well, will Fernando Alonso be able to go? It's only a 12.4, if I'm not mistaken. They're a 12.5. So track getting worse and worse then, as we're going to see Pierre Gasly. He goes quicker by just under a tenth there. But now, I'm hoping the heavens are about to open. As you can just see 1 minute till that rain. Come on, just start raining. Start potentially, ruining these other drivers' opportunity to get a lap in. Sergio Perez down in towards the final corner. When is that rain going to appear? Perez then at the final turn up towards the start-finish line. Will Checo be able to go fastest then clear of Carlos Sainz? No, only P3 for him. Tied with Pierre Gasly, and now the rain has started. So surely we can end up P4 here, as I swear I heard Lando Norris confirming that. It doesn't really matter to him. Oscar Piastri up over the line. Please don't go quicker than Fernando. No, he's starting a lap. So I think we might be good then for P5 here. P4 even. Well, every other car heading back out onto the circuit again for some reason at the end of this session. Another 4 mil of water, so when the rain does fall, it falls incredibly quickly. But that is locked in then to P4 here at the end of qualifying. A bit gutted. That should have been the front row. But yeah, Fernando Alonso just lacking a little bit of that ultimate one-lap pace this weekend. But P4 is, not bad going.
Drivers are strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
Qualifying went well for McLaren, and they're set to start this race feeling quite comfortable. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. The weather is very overcast here, and teams are staring at the sky, watching for the first sign of rain. Strategies might have to be quite flexible going into today's race.
But don't forget, there's always excitement in Montreal, and the odds are that this will be another Grand Prix to remember.
Right, here we are then. Grand Prix Sunday here from the Canadian Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso starting in P4. Lando Norris a little bit further down the roster. I don't quite know how their tyre management is going to compare, but fingers crossed we can try and get some big double points today. Then in terms of fuel, feel like Canada is a circuit where we probably want just a little bit of extra fuel in both cars as well then. But Alonso, I want to try and keep him up the front, try and keep up with those Red Bulls and Ferraris towards the front of the field. Lando Norris, maybe he is the new Oscar Piastri within our team.
It's a somewhat overcast day for the drivers, who've now taken position on the grid. Looking at Fernando Alonso here. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalise on it? Norris there, further down the grid. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. The race start is mere seconds away. The drivers are ready and raring to go. It's the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Well, there we go then. Good clean start by both of our cars. Pierre Gasly, of course, in the AlphaTauri on the front row. And immediately Sergio Perez is going to try and get past him there. As it looks like Pierre has started this Grand Prix on a set of mediums. So we need to try and get around him as early as possible. That has got to be the game plan. There is no Gasly. Came back at Sergio Perez then through turn 1. We'll put both drivers on the push mode as Lando Norris staying in P11 at the start of this Grand Prix. Side by side with George Russell as we head down in towards the middle sector though. Come on, don't lose the place, Fernando. You got to be a fighter. And absolutely, I mean, there's no arguing. Fernando Alonso is a fighter in Formula 1. As here we go, around the outside of Sergio Perez, down in towards the next king. Can he go from defending to attacking there? It looks like he has. And Fernando Alonso then, just for a moment, up into P3, still side by side with Checo off the corner. Unfortunately, the Red Bull then, just with a bit of extra straight line speed once more, as, you know what, let's go full deploy. Let's go full deploy then off the corner, as losing the place to George Russell. How topsy-turvy has this opening lap been? Top 2 starting on the mediums. Then we got, I mean, it's just such a split between mediums and soft compound tyres there. But yeah, Fernando Alonso then losing the place to George Russell towards the end of that, rounding our way through the final chicane. I think everyone wants to obviously try and make moves as early as possible here as out of the final corner. Can we try and come back at George, back down towards turn 1? No, just getting covered off there. To the inside though, we'll look! Fernando Alonso always, he's a very, very feisty Spaniard in the car at the moment there, but amazed that both Gasly and Sainz have been able to hold on at the front. Maybe it's worth trying to break away from Pierre Gasly early on. There's Verstappen, of course, up in 7th. And Lando Norris then just still sitting in P11. The race will hopefully come to him a bit later on. As yeah, Bottas on softs, but Oscar on mediums just in front of him. Oh, there we go. Max Verstappen, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Alonso had taken it momentarily there, but Pierre Gasly, look how well that AlphaTauri is doing there. He stayed in the DRS of Carlos Sainz early on in this race. We've already got yellow flags out in Sector 3, though. That's Sebastian Vettel down at turn 1, who seems to have gone off. Is it just a big lock-up then from the German? He's done very, very well to avoid any other car. Still has hit the wall, though, somehow. But, yeah, Sebastian Vettel, then the first driver with issues today is Hamilton down in P18. Yeah, Vettel off at turn 1. That shouldn't be a safety car, though. He's been able to get it going once again. Already got quite a big gap, though, opening up between the top 8 and then Valtteri Bottas there. Of course, has moved now past his teammate. Sebastian Vettel then into the pit, so now I think it's Lando's turn to really try and go aggressive early on this afternoon. Already on lap 5 of this GP, and I mean, oh, here we go. Sainz and Pierre Gasly at the front of the field then. Is Pierre Gasly going to take the lead of a Grand Prix in the AlphaTauri car there? He's going to try and hook it up around the outside. Go on, Pierre. I'd love to see this early on this afternoon. And Gasly again to the outside still, and he swoops through on Carlos Sainz there. Will he be able to get the power down off the corner? Yes, he will, and Pierre Gasly leads the Canadian Grand Prix there. Will he be able to help Sergio Perez out as well there? Both of our Italian teams at the front of the field, as there we go, Lando Norris has made a move on Oscar Piastri as well, so that's good for us, of course, not only as a driver, but also as a team then. DRS there, and Bottas probably should have been helping out his teammate. Nope, blocks him into towards the corner, which gives Lando Norris a bit of a clear run round the outside, and he will now be through. Let's hope he can try and get a run then on Bottas as well. As we head down the back straight, we'll put him into the overtake mode. Come on then, so Lando Norris, get both those Alfa Romeos in the space of a lap. No, he's going to sit behind, because that's just what the AI like to do on F1 Manager there. Down towards the wall of champion chicane once again, as it looks like Sainz has immediately got the run back on Pierre Gasly there. But here we go, out of the final corner side by side with Bottas as we head back down towards turn 1. Hard tyres versus the softs. But you know what, Lando Norris has only gone and done it, and up now into P9 then of the Grand Prix. But he's going to have to continue pushing to try and break out of that DRS range. And yep, any hopes we had there of breaking out the DRS has immediately gone up. Lando, though, does take fastest lap of the day, so clearly showing how quick this McLaren car is. But yeah, unfortunately, Albon out the DRS range of Charles Leclerc there, but we're still going to have this little gaggle of cars trying to close back up the gap to the big 8 early on in this race. More yellow flags out. Someone else has had issues. Is that Daniel Ricciardo? No, Charles Leclerc's bottled it. What's happened to Charles Leclerc then in this Grand Prix? All over the back of the car in front and just loops it round. Very, very lucky not to take out another car there, as Ricciardo can't get round him for some reason, and Charles Leclerc's nightmare weekend will continue then. So big gap now opened up. So at least, yeah, Lando is only going to be battling out with those Alfa Romeos. As Sainz again going to battle with Pierre Gasly. This is fantastic. Fernando Alonso early on in this race. May as well bring him back down onto the balance. But yeah, really is allowing all of these soft compound runners to save their tyres and not drop back from the leaders. Here we go then. George Russell now. George Russell into the lead of the Grand Prix. Perez into P2. So I think finally the soft compound runners are starting to try and find their way around them. But how is the tyre wear looking for these cars? Alonso is in a very, very good position against most of the other soft compound runners here. So I think we've just sort of got to see how this race continues to pan out there. We've just got to make sure, of course, that we don't lose the DRS as well. But here goes Perez, then to the inside of George Russell in this Grand Prix. We have literally got 6 cars from 6 different teams inside the top 6 here. 7 cars of the top 8 from different organisations, and all of them fighting for the lead. This is mental, as Perez back to the inside of George Russell again down in the hairpin, and he will now take the lead. That's our 4th different team that's led in 11 laps. And now every time I seem to pause, Pierre Gasly is now back up into the lead then. So Norris has moved past Oscar Piastri and Valtteri Bottas, so I can only assume that Bottas made a little bit of an error. But to be honest, these three just kind of sticking with each other at the moment. Don't really see much of a viable way for Lando to try and get a bit further. We've got to wait for Oscar to pit and then potentially break free from Bottas. I don't really know. I mean, early on then, it's just such a race of management as we get towards 1/4 distance here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Gasly now back up into the lead once again, but we really are just trying to sit back and hope that some of these AI take a bit more out of their tyres. It's going to be a long old run on a set of hards towards the end of this race, unless, of course, 2 stops happen, as Charles Leclerc already in from his mediums onto a set of hards then. So Leclerc, that's some awful camera work by the game. But yeah, Leclerc out behind Lewis Hamilton then in this GP. Are they planning on pitting again before the end, or will the hards just go ridiculously far into this Grand Prix? Not going to be long though before Alonso is doing the same. Surely now we're going to start seeing more and more AI into the pit lane then. Pit window has been entered for Fernando Alonso there, but Russell, he's managed his tyres quite well in this Grand Prix. Of course, the mediums should be able to go at least another 10 laps, so they probably will be fine to go, obviously, mediums to hards to the end of this race. But yeah, when are we going to see Russell and Perez pit? Is it worth? Could we try and get an undercut in this Grand Prix there? Let's have a look. Where would the gaps be? We'd come out around Zhou Guanyu, I think, looking on the mini-map. Is it worth it for Fernando Alonso just to try and go for a ridiculous undercut on these cars in front, or is it worth trying to just overcut them and having slightly fresher tyres towards the end of this race? Oh, I wish I'd known Perez and Russell weren't going to pit then, otherwise I probably would have done it with Fernando Alonso, but I feel like, yeah, we are going to have to pit lap 24, 1/3 distance. I think, yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to box him now then onto those hard compound tyres and see if we can try and undercut then. Daniel Ricciardo into the pit lane, so he's got a good opportunity. As, yeah, Norris and Bottas still battling out with each other. Here we go, though, down in towards the final couple of corners once more. Perez and Russell side by side just a bit further up. Perez into the pit lane, though, as Fernando Alonso is going to join him, so that works out quite nicely then. We might be able to get a little bit of slipstream in DRS off the Red Bull car, but where are we going to re-emerge then in this Grand Prix? Fernando Alonso, first McLaren pit stop since 2018, and it all runs without a hitch, so that is good to see. But now, yeah, he's going to have to try and push on over these next couple of laps. Yeah, like I said, we should be out ahead of Zhou Guanyu, though, so that works out really nicely. As you can see just how much of a train is still being formed at the front of the field, but Alonso actually dropped away a little bit behind Sergio Perez, so let's try and push on, get back within that range. 1.7 seconds the gap. That's not good, but I think Checo is also trying to push. But we have got Perez inside our sights once again, and will we both have been able to get a jump on those other cars? Sainz into the pit lane from his mediums. So none of the medium runners trying to go any further in this Grand Prix than the soft compound runners. There we've got Norris, Russell even still leading the race ahead of Verstappen and Lando Norris then. But yeah, Norris now basically a pit stop behind Fernando Alonso in this Grand Prix. But yeah, Alonso now up into a net P2 then, I guess, in this Grand Prix. And can we actually get Sainz at the DRS? That would be very, very good. Let's just try and keep on the deploy. And just make sure, yep, Sainz is out of the range then at the moment. I'm hoping Lando... in fact, you know what? I'm going to bail Lando Norris out into the pit lane as well to try and help Checo and Fernando here. Oh, no. Come on, Norris. Get on with it. Don't get him back inside the DRS range. 1 second to Carlos Sainz. Yeah, there we go. We've kept it up above the 1 second mark there, as hopefully Lando is not going to get in the way of these two cars then. We're almost 3 wide down towards the final chicane. Just keep it clean and tidy, lads. We don't want to lose any time. As right, we're not going to try and fight with the car in front. We just need Alonso to stay in P2 at the moment, as we'll bring him off of the fuel usage. 1.3 seconds to Sainz, though, as he's going to go side by side with Gasly again down at turn 1. George Russell has lost out in all of this, down into P5 of this Grand Prix, but we are in the battle for the race lead here, as Norris is going to re-emerge down in P14 of this Grand Prix. No, he's going to get back round Bottas. But yeah, we don't know quite what Charles Leclerc is going to be doing strategy-wise towards the end, or Lewis Hamilton, but they have had a rather large undercut. And Fernando Alonso then accidentally takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Then I've been trying to keep him just to sit behind at the moment, but Fernando absolutely flying around this circuit. Another car's around wide apparently. I think that was Mick Schumacher towards the rear of the field, but he's kept it going. But yeah, Lando then, I need to try and get back round Bottas. A bit closer to that gaggle of cars in front, as Verstappen still stuck in P3. But I just don't want those other cars getting inside the DRS range. This is why I don't want Checo and Fernando battling. We've got to try and get away. As you can see, Sainz and Gasly once again there side by side a bit further back. Is it worth just getting Fernando on full send for a lap or two? Oh, Sainz now inside the DRS range as well. This is not what I wanted in this Grand Prix. We wanted to try and just stay out in front there, just only have Checo to battle with, but that's not quite how things are going to work. Are we going to see Perez get a run back down towards turn 1? Yes, we are. Sergio Perez to the inside, and we'll just bring it back down then with Fernando Alonso. But you know what, he's going to have the inside through turn 2, and he's going to again be able to keep the Red Bull at bay. Oh, here we go. Sainz and Checo now battling it out just behind. So let's try and see if we can pull out the 1 second zone once again. Then, I mean, they've both still got the DRS, though. This is the problem. You just cannot break free around this venue. I mean, we've seen so many cars attempt it so far this afternoon, but you can see Sainz there up the inside of Sergio Perez, back then into P2 of this Grand Prix, but you just can't do anything. You get like a 6th, 7th, 10th gap, and unless they continue to fight behind you, Fernando Alonso is stuck just carrying everyone around this circuit. Will we see Sainz try and get a bit closer? No, we won't. I mean, is it worth just going full send like this? I don't really know at the moment. We're using pretty much all the battery we've possibly got, and we're still got Sainz there right on our tail, back down towards turn 1. Fernando having to go defensive this time around. He's saved up a little bit of battery. Surely we can't break out a 1 second gap throughout the next 4 corners or so. Half a second, the gap goes up to 0.6 of a second the gap goes up to. Just keep pushing. 6.5 tenths. 7 tenths. Come on. Just try and get a little bit more out of it, but I don't think we're going to. I think we're just going to have to accept the fact that we cannot break free at the moment. As, yep, Sainz again. We'll have the DRS. He's 9 tenths back, though. Come on. Still going up. 9.5 tenths. It was 5 thousandths away then for just a split second. 8 tenths of a second. If he can get a good run out here, this might still just about be possible. 9 tenths. Come on, a second. Show me a second. Just get Sainz out of that DRS range. I mean, we've got to start saving battery anyway now. Sainz is locked up. Yes! Carlos Sainz there trying to keep up under pressure. He's hit the wall. So Fernando Alonso now does have the... No, the DRS. The safety car even. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I mean, is it worth pitting Lando? Could we go? We could try go mediums to the end, couldn't we? And as soon as I thought then we might have had an opportunity, the safety car has been deployed. Carlos Sainz is out of the Grand Prix there. So Ferrari's nightmare weekend continues. In fact, you know what? We're not... Don't think it's worth bringing him in. Pit options. How do I cancel? There we go. Cancel pit stop. We may as well stay out there because who knows what's going to happen in the second half of this race. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, and Fernando Alonso knows what he needs to do. We've got to try and break out of that DRS range here. This will be the only chance we've got if we want to try. I mean, it's still a long old way to the end of this GP, but we know this McLaren car is fast around here. We know just what sort of pace Fernando Alonso is capable of. I don't know how he's only got half a charge of battery still. At the moment, he's been on full harvest throughout this safety car period, but down in towards the final couple of turns we will go. You can just see everyone there trying to weave to get tyre temperature in. And we're going to have to, I mean, we're just going to have to go full deploy, aren't we, once again. Fernando Alonso down in towards the final corner. He has gone very, very early. Perez having to go defensive from the cars behind her. Will we now be able to get the 1 second gap that we need in this GP? We'd proven it was just about doable earlier on. But of course, we've now got a bit of a time as well to try. Obviously, no DRS throughout these first couple of laps. So if we can just push on as best as possible. I mean, we may as well bring Fernando back up into neutral as well. 7 tenths of a second, 8 tenths of a second. This is critical by Fernando Alonso in this Grand Prix. Then 9 tenths of a second now over Sergio Perez. We might have got the jump on the Red Bull here off this restart, and this could be fantastic for Fernando here. Straight back up over the 1 second mark will go then. And Sergio Perez 1.3 seconds back. Calm it down, Fernando Alonso. Absolutely wild off the restart. Just going to try and bring it back down, but we've got plenty of spare fuel to try and use. And that has been the dream restart for Fernando then. Lando still just sat in the DRS of some other cars, or within the slipstream range I should say, but perfect little restart for Fernando. Now, sir, set sail and try to make sure that no one gets close again. Oh, DRS has been enabled though, and you can just see Perez, he did have that gap under 1 second once more. Has Sergio Perez got the DRS? Yes, he has. How has Checo done that in this Grand Prix then? So just when I thought we might have broke free from Sergio Perez then, absolutely has not happened here. And you know what, that completely changes the face of this race then. We've got to just play the long game still this afternoon as Lando Norris. I don't really know what we can do with him at the moment. He's kind of just stuck in this midfield battle. It might be worth, with say 15 laps to go, trying to pit him onto a set of soft compound tyres and just going super aggressive towards the end of this race. But yeah, Fernando Alonso not out of the DRS range then. Luckily, it looks like only 3 of them have broken free this time, so that's quite good for us. Gasly can sit there and try and defend from Ocon and Verstappen towards the end of this race. But yeah, I think we're going to lose the place once more with Fernando, but as long as we stay as a group of 3, I mean, a podium on his return to McLaren would not be bad going by any measure as well then. So you know what, I'm quite happy to sit in P3 for now. I am very, very happy just to do that. It's a long race still, we're only at half distance, and that's crazy with how much has gone on. And Norris trying to find a way around Oscar Piastri then later on. I mean, yeah, we're starting to just obviously see things all simmer down in this Grand Prix, but here we go, round the outside of his old teammate then. Well, we're going to try and find a way around young Oscar Piastri, of course. I do genuinely hope he does well down at Alfa Romeo. It's just quite clear that McLaren wasn't the fit for him there, and I mean, McLaren's rookie curse seems to continue there. It's really been Lando Norris over the last decade or so that's been able to do well within the team. But up into 11th then, let's see if we can try and get within the range of Ricciardo in front. Yes, we just about, will we? Yeah, there we go, inside the range. Someone else is locked up there. We've got yellow flags out in this Grand Prix. I think that might have been an Aston... Was that Sebastian Vettel? Don't know. Did he hold up? No, it was Albon locking up then. So what's he done in this Grand Prix under pressure from Sebastian Vettel? And yeah, just decides he's going to have a picnic. Why not, eh? What? Less than 20 laps to go. It is still tempting just to send it with Lando Norris. Try and see. I mean, AI, yeah, surely. Actually, 20 laps to go. They are going to be quite tight on tyres towards the end of this race. So is it worth seeing if the AI do pit? I think what we've got to do with Lando Norris, to be honest, is pit him. Then, of course, if the AI do pit, we've got a big undercut. We've got so many fresh sets of tyres still. That shouldn't be much of an issue. Hopefully, we should be out ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So even if, yeah, we will obviously lose the place to the Alfa Romeo once more. But to no one else with a bit of luck. But yeah, if we can try and get like a big undercut on the rest of the field, that would be rather good towards the end of this race. Let's just go like that quickly. I mean, Fernando Alonso is still just sat there watching the Red Bull and the Mercedes battle it out in front of him. I mean, imagine if Fernando Alonso wins his first race back with McLaren there. The absolute scenes behind that. Probably the worst team he's ever worked with in terms of their relationship. You know, it didn't work out the first time round. It didn't work out the second time round. I don't really know what makes me believe it's going to work this time out. But you know what? So far, as first races go, it's not looking too bad there. As Lando Norris back into the pit lane then. It's a bit of a gamble late on today, but we may as well go for it. He's not looking like he's going to score many points anyway. So yeah, as long as we come out ahead of Sebastian Vettel, which we absolutely should then, the German costing a lot of time to the cars behind him. And I mean, Vettel, yeah, has been battling Williams and Aston Martins all day. Pierre Gasly's been battling for the win early on this afternoon there. But out of pit lane we go with with Lando Norris even. 18 laps to go of the Canadian Grand Prix. We're just going to go full push. Yeah, Lando Norris absolutely flying. New fastest lap of the day as we start lap 54. Has taken a fair bit out of those tyres inside those first couple of laps. But yeah, 1:15.2. I mean, that is a lot quicker than pretty much anyone else has been able to go. Last lap, there was 2 seconds quicker than pretty much anyone else's. How are the tyres looking for the other drivers? Surely we're going to see some of these cars pit before the end. 53% for Leclerc and Hamilton. Surely they're going to pit. As soon as I say that, Leclerc and Hamilton have pit then in this Grand Prix. So Lando Norris is going to be back up then into 11th place. Nice undercut, sorry, on those two cars. And could we see others pit before this race is down and out? I don't quite know yet, but back up then into 11th place we go. Should be able to get both those Alfa Romeos at the very least. And then, I mean, there's still just such a big gaggle of cars further up. Well, yep, Fernando still sat there in P3. That doesn't bother me too much as long as he's staying within the DRS range there and as long as Gasly isn't within the range of him. Here we go, Lando Norris to the inside of one of the Alfa Romeos. Not quite able to make the move there. As I mean, now, yeah, unfortunately we've got Leclerc and Hamilton all over our gearbox once again, so they might not still be out of this battle before the end of this race. Use the overtake mode and the hot lap, and hopefully we'll try and get a run then to the outside, to the inside even, of one of the Alfa Romeos. Then Bottas trying to have a look for a move on his teammate Oscar Piastri, but Lando Norris to the inside through the Wall of Champions chicane there. How have they made that 2x2? I will never quite know, and that's one Alfa Romeo, I think, navigated with 3 wide as we head back down towards turn 1 there momentarily, but Lando Norris back through then and up into P9 of the Grand Prix, so he was better than he was just a couple of laps ago. 10 laps to go of this race. Let's try and push on, get Oscar out of the DRS, and yeah, we'll hopefully try and leave Leclerc and Hamilton again in our wake. Perfect little move there, and we've got him out of the DRS range as well. Wonderful. Oh, virtual safety car. Kevin Magnussen. No! Fernando Alonso's binned it! I think he's out of the Grand Prix. I cannot believe that. Fernando Alonso, he's been battling for the victory all day long. And the Wall of Champions. The Wall of Champions, the 2-time champion. Like, what is wrong? Were we wrong to sack Oscar Piastri then? I mean, he's still going. He's got a puncture. Surely that's going to be a full safety car. Terminal tyre damage. That's, I mean, we're going to have to pit him anyway. Right, we'll have to go softs then to the end of this race. I mean, what I need is a safety car. I need a full safety car in this Grand Prix. Tyres, yep. We need... What don't we have? Oh, we haven't got any front wings. Oh, it's all over. It's all over for Fernando Alonso. I didn't realise we had no spare wings this weekend. But yeah, we've got to retire that car
Yes.
We can't keep going like this. More options. Yeah. Oh, Fernando! So annoying. So annoying late on here. I genuinely thought he could have been in the fight for a victory. But Fernando Alonso out of the Canadian Grand Prix there. Need to bring more front wings with us. But yeah, I mean, he was already out of the points. He wasn't going to score anything.
Stop.
That is a disaster.
Okay.
Late on here, I genuinely thought the win was on. Again, then, looks like Lando Norris even is going to be the one we're having to rely on. I can't believe that. Both Spaniards out of the Canadian Grand Prix. But yeah, genuinely, my plan was we had so much battery late on with Fernando. Just 2 laps to go. Absolutely go for it then. But here we go. Lando Norris around the outside of Kevin Magnussen. Surely the Haas is not going to be able to fight all too much with that. 5 laps to go. I mean, we could still get a decent result out of Lando here. But it could have been 2 decent results is the problem. I mean, damage limitation then. Hopefully we'll try and get a run on Daniel Ricciardo down in towards the hairpin. Not quite able to do anything that time around. We are just going to have to do a lot of micromanagement towards the end of this race. But yeah, clearly this strategy was quite a good way of going about things. Tyres are starting to fall off though towards the end, but still got to try and make moves happen wherever we can. We have still got a grip advantage over most of these cars. To the outside then of Daniel Ricciardo down in towards the final chicane. You can see how much later. Why have you backed out? Just stay there, please. Oh, now even Charles Leclerc's got the jump on us. Late on here, we just can't do anything towards the end of this race. I mean, it's all gone so badly wrong towards the end. We had Lando on a potentially brilliant strategy to try and get himself back up the order. We have Fernando Alonso battling it out for the win. And it looks like we might pick up, what, 4 points? Maybe even only 2 points late on here. I mean, Ocon and Verstappen still duking it out for the final podium place is pretty cool to see. But of course, Alpine, one of our biggest championship rivals. I was hyping up Fernando Alonso so much there. I genuinely thought maybe this is going to be different. But still, Fernando Alonso and McLaren, it is absolutely cursed, apparently, in the world of Formula 1. We know he's got the pace. We know the car's got the pace as well now to fight for victories. But yeah, Fernando, just, I mean, the Wall of Champions, it's given that name for a reason, but it is still so infuriating now. Russell and Perez still duking it out for the race lead as we start the final lap then here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Can Perez try and trade a blow at the top of the championship then? And Mercedes still waiting for their first victory of the new season as well there. Verstappen now just trying to break free from Esteban Ocon behind him. And we're just going to go full deploy, I don't care. 1 lap to go. We may as well. If we drain the battery, we drain the battery. Hamilton has even taken the fastest lap bonus point off us as well here. But will we see Russell try and get a run then on Sergio Perez? It has been a mega weekend here from the Canadian Grand Prix circuit. I'm just so gutted it's not gone well for us, because this has absolutely been race of the season, and it is going to come down to the wire between Russell and Sergio here out of the the second to last chicane of this lap. Are we going to see a send down at the hairpin? We've ran out of ERS on Lando Norris once again there, but really not too worried about that. You can see George Russell trying to get the car to the inside. He will have the DRS though as we head down in towards the final corners of this Grand Prix there. DRS wide open behind Sergio Perez. Are we going to see Russell? He's going to look to the inside of the Mexican there, and you can just see Sergio Perez has got nothing to try and defend with. Can he hook it up around the outside through the final chicane there? They are going to be drag racing towards the finish line. George Russell has got the DRS once more, and George Russell, in a drag race to the line, is going to win the Canadian Grand Prix there. Max Verstappen in P3 ahead of Ocon, just 2/10 back. Ricciardo in 5th. Leclerc, Gasly, after fighting for the win early on, is only going to come away with 7th. Lando Norris in 8th, Hamilton 9th, and Magnussen will round out our top 10 there. What a ridiculous race that has been here from Canada.
And that's good enough work from Lando Norris this weekend. McLaren showed some good stuff here today, but they'll be building on that now to try and improve their results next time.
I agree, they have some ironing out to do, but they certainly have what it takes to get there.
The end this weekend in 5th place in the constructor standings.
For the next round, we're heading back to the heart of the UK. Get ready for a race to remember in Silverstone, the cradle of Formula 1.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Canadian Grand Prix. I mean, look at that from our top 6. +4, +1, +4, +5, +12, +10. Absolutely insane race here from Canada. Hamilton from the back of the grid, able to walk away with a couple of points as well. Not bad going by him, but George Russell, is that his first ever win on F1 Manager? I think that might be in any of the series I've done. I know Hamilton has won some races before, but I think that might be the first one for George Russell there. Alonso, though, 9 laps from home, battling for the win, and goes and throws it away there. Carlos Sainz as well, another bottle earlier on in the afternoon. That is well and truly heartbreaking there. It does mean championship-wise, though, Russell now re-jumps both Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton there to be best of the Brits. Charles Leclerc still does maintain actually quite a healthy championship lead after so many bottles by other drivers there. Verstappen up at a P2 ahead of Sainz and Perez, now tied on 120 points apiece there. Russell in 5th ahead of Hamilton and Norris, like I said, and Ricciardo there. I mean, yeah, Ricciardo's return to Alpine has been absolutely fantastic ahead of Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly there. He could have been on big points come the end of this weekend, but it just wasn't meant to be. Oscar Piastri doesn't, of course, score any this weekend. Magnussen just keeps up his points tally going up nicely there. And constructors-wise, though, Alpine again get the jump on us in the championship. Red Bull make big inroads, though, on Ferrari come the top of the table there. And Mercedes even as well, still solidifying it in P3. But we know we've got 2 drivers now that can fight at the front. We've just got to try and get weekends sorted and keep them clean and tidy. I'm going to head back to the factory, manufacture some front wings as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and we will return very, very soon with more F1 Manager content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.